Hey guys, this is Sam, and I run the YouTube channel Chalice and Chains. You'll have to forgive my voice. I'm just coming out or off of a cold, I think. So, got that sexy jazz voice going on. But I felt like I needed to make a video today to respond to some of the comments that have been popping up in the OSG lately. Mostly around the idea of new players not being able to find games to play in the one-shot group, which I find really surprising. And a couple of them, I've seen these posts come up now and again, and the first thing I would say is, you gotta refer to my earlier video on this about how to navigate the OSG, and I'll put a link in the description below, so you can take a look at that, because you gotta be patient. But the one today was particularly upsetting because the guy was basically, when it came down to it, he was like, there aren't any games that I want to play in right now or when I have time to play. And he's like, what is this group for? So I'm going to give another piece of advice here. Maybe this will be part 2 of how to navigate the OSG. And it's going to be both for new players who are looking for games and new GMs that are looking to get players in their games. So the first part is, apart from being patient, because you're not going to get into every game that you want to get into, you cannot demand games, okay? I'm going to put that out there right now. Do not demand a game. Meaning, if you say, I want a player, or I want to play in this specific setting, in this specific game, right now, or within a few hours, are there any games? If you can put out an interest post as a player saying, hey, I'm really interested in trying out, D&D 5e. I'm a new player. Are there any games going on? That's fine. But if you put something out like that and then you complain that nobody responds to it or there aren't any games, you're going to quickly alienate yourself in the group, and people are going to block you or they aren't going to game with you. Okay? Second thing, do not post that there are no games running in the OSG. Seriously, that's ridiculous. You guys obviously don't have any idea what you're talking about. And I suspect it's probably just trolling, but I don't know. But don't post that because it's just wrong. So you got to be quick, okay? If you want to get into a game in the OSG, you have to be quick, because here's the thing. There's 3,000 members in the OSG, and there might be a total of 30 people that run games, but probably less than a dozen that run them with any kind of consistency, okay? I know for me, I've been in the OSG since about April of 2015, and I've only been able to run about a dozen games because my schedule is so tight, And I'm going to be running another one here for Brigade Con in October on the 10th. And I'm going to be running a couple more this month in September. But, come December, January, when my kid is born, I may not be able to run games for a while. So you have to understand that in a group of 3,000 people, it's supply and demand, okay? Here's the other thing. I like running games for new players, but I'm not always going to invite all new players to my games, okay? Because there's a certain group of people in the OSG that I know I can trust my game with, okay? And that's something to keep in mind, right? You need to build a community. If you can't build a community by getting into games, try getting into hangouts. If you can't get into a hangout, start a hangout and invite people to it, okay? Do something to build your presence in a positive way in the community, because that will help you get into games. That will help get you personal invites into games, okay? Now, if you're a new dungeon master, a new game master, and you want to run a game, the first thing you have to do, you can put up an interest post, and an interest post is fine, but anybody who uses social media knows that there is so many different things popping up in our newsfeed that you don't always see stuff. People are going to miss your post, okay? So one, you have to have a picture, because a picture will get people to look at it, okay? 2, you're better off just, if you have time to run a game, whatever system it is, whatever premise, create an event in the OSG. Invite the whole OSG if you still can, or if not, all your friends in the OSG, whatever. Create an event and invite people. And in the event, have a picture and have a good description of what you're looking for. That will reach more people. That will ping them. They will get a notification saying you've been invited to this event. Then they will look at it and decide whether they can make it or not and respond. If you just throw up a post just saying, hey, I'm interested in doing this, and you're new, nobody knows who you are, there's no picture, maybe not a great description, you might get some responses, but you might not, because, and it's not that people don't like you or don't want to game with you, it's just that they literally may not be seeing your post. They might scroll right past it. So, it's another tip to navigate the OSG. Understand how the system works, okay? People don't get annoyed by getting invited to an event, all right, in the OSG. Because it's Facebook. All you have to do is just either ignore it or you can click not going, okay? So, to wrap up, as a player, do not demand games. Do not demand that people run a game in a particular system, in a particular setting, at a particular time to suit you. Don't do that. 2, if you're trying to get into games and you can't because either you're not quick enough or people are being invited, whatever, do not complain about it in the group, because that will get you ostracized very quickly. Because there are lots of games and many games open to new players, but you have to be patient. You're not always going to get in a game, and you're not always going to get in a game that suits your taste or your timing, okay? If you're a new GM, you can put out an interest post, but better yet, create an event with a picture and invite everybody. That way they get the notification, they will see it, okay? It's about marketing. So use those tips. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any, concerns, any questions, whatever, subscribe to the channel, like the video and all that, and happy gaming.